at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
This is the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles and news around the NFL. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Rob's Automotive and Collision, BCWSA, Chickies and Pete's, Allstate Fairless Hills Tom LaCroix, Penworth Financial Services, Penn Community Bank, Capital Grill, Ventresca's LTD, Independence Blue Cross, and SEPTA. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. Great to be with you. I have been flying back and forth to Seattle in the last couple of days, just getting my land legs back on, but it's good to be with you in spite of the disappointing game last night against the Seahawks. It was a tough one to weather as the Seahawks came back in the final minute after a 92-yard drive, and the Eagles fell flat. Bob Grotz,
not the end of the world, though, Merrill. I mean, I know it's a tough loss. They've lost 3 in a row, but I still am a little bit surprised by the overreaction. You know, it's all over. There's no digging out of this. You know, what can we do to repair this, the defense? There's still a lot of football to be played, and I wasn't a big fan of the pencil on the ear, like Matt Patricia calling the plays. I wasn't a big fan of that. I don't think you do that with a 10-3 team, but there's a lot of football to go, and the Eagles are still one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. So, you know, the sky is not falling.
Well, the sky has crumbled a little bit over these last 3 games. The 49ers game was so one-sided. And then the Cowboys game, they moved the ball better, but they couldn't stop them. And then this game was so disappointing because they got off to a great start. And then Seattle came back, and they made up a 10-point deficit. Actually, the Eagles cost themselves a second touchdown because there was an offsides called on Jason Kelce from 1 yard out that killed them. And then, so they hurt themselves there, had to settle for a field goal. But the Seahawks, with a backup quarterback in Drew Lock, just continued to peck away.
That was the most difficult thing about last night. 92 yards away with a minute, $1:53 to go?
And one timeout. Like they only had one timeout.
That was a little bit hard to take. But let's be honest. I mean, the back end of that defense is riddled with injuries. It wasn't really talented when we started this season. I know you're probably going to disagree with me about that, but I saw a lot of age on those cornerbacks. After they hit 30, they just don't run like they used to. And they've admitted that they've got some deficiencies back there simply by trading for guys like Kevin Byard and even, you know, the linebacking core too. Shaq Leonard was out there out of necessity, and I just didn't. And Merrill, is it me or should they have had 3 or 4 interceptions last night? I mean, balls hitting them right in the hands. I don't, you know, I just don't get that part of it.
Well, there were a couple. See, that's another thing I look at. The fact that when you go into a game, you don't want to turn the ball over, and they've been turning it over. They think they're now -5 in turnover differential, or maybe -6, but they're up there in turnover differential, and or down there, as you might put it. At the end of the season, the teams that go someplace that are really Super Bowl threats are at least +8, which is where the Eagles were last year. They were +8. At one point last year, they were +14 and slipped 6 back. But still, we're +8 going into the Super Bowl. Right now, the Eagles are -5 or 6.
There's no question about those turnovers, but there have been opportunities to take the ball away. You can't coach that, and this is kind of a sore subject with me because I know Sean Desai has he's entitled the defensive coordinator, but we all know that Matt Patricia is now the de facto defensive coordinator. Sean Desai took a lot of heat because these guys can't catch the ball, or they can't come up with a fumble. I mean, there have been opportunities all season, and I don't know exactly what the takeaway number is for the Eagles, but it's got to be down among the fewest in the league.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
And you can't. I mean, they've tried to practice this. You can't really simulate it, but they've tried to, knocking the ball away. I mean, you can't kill a coach. You shouldn't be changing a coach because your players can't get turnovers.
Well, the fact of the matter is they did change the play calling on defense responsibilities, and they put Sean Desai up in the booth.
And they should have had
and
3
brought down
interceptions.
Matt Patricia.
And they still didn't get them.
But the results, they changed the play caller, but the results were basically the same.
Exactly. They couldn't stop a team when they really had to.
You wonder why.
Yeah.
You wonder why. And one interception.
I don't really wonder.
One forced fumble. And they had one forced fumble and a scoop 6 in Dallas, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah. Well, I don't wonder simply because of what I was talking about, the back end of that defense. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble. We knew in terms of just the first game against the Washington Commanders how open those receivers get. And it's been like that the rest of the whole season. And I've never, in my years on this beat, and I started on 92, I have never seen an Eagles defense give up so many open pass routes to these guys. I mean, everybody is open, you know? And last night, okay, in all fairness, last night they tightened up a little bit, but that was because of the nature of what Seattle wanted to do, run the ball, throw short. But when they had to open it up, guess what? Guys were open. I mean, single coverage, zone, it didn't matter. Players get open against this team, and that does not bode well if you're looking down the road. I think they are in the playoffs. I think they got a playoff win in them. Do you?
Well, I do. I really do. I tend to be kind of an optimistic sort, but I do think they will bounce back on Christmas Day against the Giants. I think the Cardinals are going to be tougher than many people expect them to be, because I think Jonathan Gannon knows this football team very, very well, and I think the Cardinals are a better team. They've played a lot of teams closely, including they beat Dallas earlier in the season, and now they have Kyler Murray back, who's a skilled quarterback.
Good. Yeah.
He can make a difference.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't think that game is a gimme.
No, but I
don't think there are any gimmies, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but in terms of like the number one seeding, I don't see. Do you see the 49ers losing 2 games, two of their last 3?
No,
Neither
I don't.
And I don't. Nor do I see Dallas winning out.
No, Dallas is Miami. They have Detroit, and then they finish with an easy game against the Commanders.
So what we're looking at really is the Eagles clinching the NFC East.
Well, we
getting
hope.
a home. Yeah,
that's what we're looking for.
Because Dallas is not going to finish strong. I mean, you can predict that. So the Eagles will win 2 of their last 3. And the last game, I say 2 of the last 3 because the last game against the Giants, all the starters will rest.
Oh, I don't think so.
They won't have the bye. I do.
They won't
need it. They won't need it.
Boy,
because
you're
by then San Francisco will have clinched the number 1 seed. That's my point.
I think that could be true. That should be true. But I think at the same point, you don't know. The Cowboys could win these next 2 games, and the Eagles might need to win out.
Yeah.
The one thing you want is you want to win the division. You want that home game to start your playoff run.
Absolutely. And I think they'll get that. I think that's the way it'll start. But I also am a realist in that when I look at those schedules, you can't tell everything just by looking at a schedule. And I know the division games are a little bit more difficult because the teams have such a familiarity with each other. But in all seriousness, I see the Eagles winning the division, probably finishing up. They're not going to have the bye, because I see the 49ers getting the bye unless something dramatic happens. And we never know about this either. What if McCaffrey gets a high ankle sprain or something like that? You know, if that happens, Deebo Samuel gets hurt, Kittle, they're not the same team.
Well, they're not.
Yeah.
And McCaffrey is a big reason that the 49ers are as good as they are. Although, you know what? I thought last year that Brock Purdy was kind of managing the team, coming in Mr. Irrelevant. He has become a very, very good quarterback. He is more than your, quote, game manager. He makes plays. He reads defenses. He's an accurate passer. I think he's a lot better than other people think he is.
He's much better than last year, too. I mean, his confidence is growing. He's not my favorite coach in the league, but Kyle Shanahan, he really knows how to put a game plan together around those guys. The Eagles, this has been frustrating to see this year for me too. The Eagles with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, you can't tell me you should struggle to get the right contribution, the right production out of them, and they do. They've struggled all year. One week we'll go to this guy, the next week this guy, but I want to see them all together, and I think that's one of the places where the Eagles have struggled. Can I blame that all on the offensive coordinator? Absolutely not. The quarterback has a lot to do with that too. But I don't like the way that they've meshed it up with those three guys. Too much talent.
Well, one of the things I am just perplexed by is the lack of impact that Dallas Goedert has made. Not just since he's come back from the injury, but he had a couple of games where he was an impact player. But for the most part, he has been targeted very, very little.
Yeah, and
he's a playmaker.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Nick spoke about this in the offseason or in training camp leading up to the season. He had planned. He wanted to get more out of Dallas Goedert, and but you have to balance it with the other two guys too, with A.J. Brown and with Devontae Smith, and then you have Jalen Hurts there too. He has to be running, in my opinion. He has to be getting into the end zone, converting those first downs for this offense to work.
Well, it's funny. I heard Ron Jaworski this morning on WIP when I was driving home from the airport, and Ron was saying he thinks Jalen should be running less. And he said quarterbacks are there to pass, and the more he runs, the more beaten up he's going to get, and he's not going to be able to run that team the way a quarterback should. But I think that is Ron thinking, and I'm not criticizing Ron because I think Ron knows a great deal of football, but I think that one of the things Ron thinks about is what he did as a quarterback, and he rarely left the pocket.
Well, I think Hurts has to be running, and we can kind of see the end of the season is in sight. So, I mean, he doesn't have to run it like 17. What was it? 17 times the other night?
I think it was 13.
It was. I thought it was more than that. I think he had 82 yards. Yeah, but it was a season high worth of yards. He doesn't have to be running it that much, I don't think. Although, in that particular situation, I could understand that. He was not feeling good. And when he doesn't have a full week of practice, Merrill, he's not the same guy.
Yeah, he missed
really
a lot
isn't.
of practice
Yeah, I mean,
last week.
You could see.
Look, they don't come into practice on a week where they have a Monday night game. Basically, they don't practice until Thursday. And on Thursday, they surprised a lot of people because they had a full-scale pads-on practice.
What do they do this week, Merrill?
I don't know. I don't know.
Pads every day?
Maybe they make them practice. I remember one time with Dick Vermeil, this goes back years ago, he was unhappy, and they started practice 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They used to go to the Navy Yard to practice then, and they were still practicing when darkness fell. It was 8 o'clock at night, and they were still practicing. So you can't do any of this stuff today because it's all regulated by the player agreements. But I don't know what else they can do.
Yeah, well, that was the golden era of practice in the NFL in Philly. And do you remember when they used to drive over to JFK? You just park your car on the field. That was great. Park your car on the field and just hope that someone doesn't come up with a marijuana joint in their mouth and ask if you want a toke or something like that. It was crazy. And those people would have been there from the last Stones concert or whatever at JFK. I mean, it was crazy.
I don't remember all that.
Louis Jamona would drive his car.
Oh, he would around the track.
Yeah.
At 1,000,000 miles an hour.
That was the golden era of practice.
Well, but this is not the kind of practice you see. You wonder, though, one of the things that bothered me, and our guest is Seth Joyner, he should be here any second. The thing that I still wonder about is the tackling. The tackling last night was poor. It really was. They gave the ball to Kenneth Walker, and it looked like he was stopped at the line of scrimmage, and I would blink, and he'd be 15 yards downfield.
Yeah, as poor as it looked, it was an upgrade from the previous 2 weeks. I mean, they still weren't tackling great, but it was nothing like the tackling against the 49ers or the Cowboys. So I think they might have turned a corner there. of course, you weren't playing those teams. And by the way, Kenneth Walker really is tough. Brandon Graham was talking about him. He said he's kind of an under-the-radar guy.
Yeah.
He's good.
He is
really
good.
I mean, he took his yards after contact last night.
That's what I'm talking about.
They were amazing.
Well, they were amazing, but really a lot of that was because the Eagles didn't wrap up.
Well, and they were facing a lot of big guys up front. They had the extra tackle in, or they were putting extra linemen in. The Seattle, clearly they wanted to beat up that defense, wear on it, and see stay close and get it to the fourth quarter. And I think we got our guest.
We do have our guest, and we have a great guest. We have Seth Joyner, and he will join us when we return with Pro Football Report right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. Hi, it's Merrill. Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, proven.
Ventresca Limited, the Delaware Valley men's store, is located in historic Doylestown. For casual clothing in denim to business suits and tuxedos, Ventresca Limited has a large selection you have to see to believe. The experienced and knowledgeable sales staff can show you the many brand labels that have made Ventresca Limited in Doylestown a must for men concerned about their image. Select from Canali, Brax Jeans, Hickey Freeman, Johnson Murphy Footwear, and much more. Custom alterations are free. Visit Ventresca Limited on the web at ventresca.com. When an Eagles player gets hurt, the team takes care of him. When you get hurt, the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will take care of you. They understand that a severe accident can be a life-altering event. You need a reliable teammate to fight for you. The attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio will get you great results. And if there's no recovery, there's no fee. Contact them today at 215-750-0110 for a free consultation. 215-750-0110 for a reliable ally that's on your side.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are, Chickies and Pete's in the great Northeast. We have a friend and one of the great analysts in football, my friend Seth Joyner has dropped by, and Seth, it's great to have you with us.
Well, thank you, man.
And I think after a game like that, we can all use some of your expert analysis. Let me start out, Bobby, by asking.
I got a great question.
Okay, well, that'll be the first. That'll be the first time. Seth, is there hope for this football team right now in terms of getting to the playoffs, possibly winning the last 3 games, and we're not going to go as far as the Super Bowl question right now, but can they get to the playoffs and create some damage?
Merrill, there's always hope.
I mean, they're in the playoffs.
Well,
They've got that locked up.
They're locked up there in the playoffs. There's always hope. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan first, I'm hoping that they can figure it out. As an analyst of the game, this team all season long, unfortunately, has told us who they are, and we refuse to, acknowledge it just because they've been winning. When you go 5-0 and then 5-1, and then you reel off 5 more, and you're 10-1, that kind of tells you that this football team, that this is a good football team, just because of the record. Bill Parcells said, "You are what your record says you are." Okay,
is that not true?
Well, I mean, it should be true. But if you dive a little deeper and you really look at this thing, the Philadelphia Eagles haven't been consistent in any fashion all year long. There's times where the defense has been great. There's been times where the offense has been great. The crazy thing is the most consistent phase of this football team this year has been special teams.
Oh, it has been. It really has been.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, they have been. They've got a great punter. They've got one of the great kickers in the National Football League. They've got Britton Covey, who averages almost 15 yards of return. Yep. Kickoffs don't matter because they all go out of the end zone. Right. So, and their coverage units on special teams are all terrific.
Yeah. The inconsistencies have been on the defensive and the offensive units. I'm not so sure, Merrill. I mean, at this time of the year, normally what should be happening in here is teams that are truly on a Super Bowl run, they should be peaking.
Yeah.
Instead of, trying to find their best and trying to get to a place, where they're improving. All the improvement should have taken place by now. You've had 14 weeks to figure that out. So can they? I hope so. Is it likely? I'm not overly hopeful.
Does a Super Bowl team change your coordinator, this late in the year? I've not heard of that,
Well, I don't know. I don't understand the point of that because there's not much change from a schematic standpoint that you can really implement this late in the season.
There was no difference yesterday.
No, I mean,
different guy calling the plays, same results.
Yeah, you're not going to take Sean Desai's defense and put it aside and implement, Matt Patricia's. They've both been in the same defensive room since training camp, so he's going to run a semblance of what is on Sean Desai's plate. Now when you call plays and how you call plays with the frequency that you call things, that could be different. But really who they are defensively, that's not going to change. And the most shocking thing is the amount of young guys that you saw play yesterday. It almost looked like it was an audition at the end of the year for a football team who was actually losing and going into the postseason having not made the postseason opposed to a team that's already locked up, a deal. I mean, look at all the young guys that were in and out on defense and playing all across the board. And the craziest thing is, of all the young guys that were on the field in the secondary yesterday, the Seattle Seahawks made a point to go after the veteran and not the young guy.
And that was Blackburn.
Yes.
Yeah, Bradbury. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I know in that with minutes to go, or less than 2 minutes to go, the Seahawks had 92 yards to travel. A field goal would do them no good.
Right.
And I made the remark on the air, you cannot let a receiver get behind you. You've got to have protection between your receiver and the goal line. I've seen things late in the game like that, and I'm not trying to outguess the coaches because that's not where my knowledge lies. But I remember the Eagles going in a defensive situation a few years ago in Los Angeles, and the Eagles put up what's called a picket fence at the goal line. Why didn't the Eagles have an extra DB or two protecting the goal line or inside the 10-yard line when poor James Bradbury was left alone with Jackson Smith and Njigba.
Well, this is one of the things that's plagued Matt Patricia as a defensive coordinator, and the head coach in Detroit, is his propensity, to run a lot of cover one. And that's what they were in yesterday. They're in man coverage with a single high safety. And that's like his coverage. That's what he likes to run, And it's aggressive, but it's not overly aggressive. But if teams can get the matchups that they want, then it can be detrimental, as we saw. Now, James Bradbury was lined up for the most part on DK Metcalf most of the day. And all of a sudden, on that play, they line up Jackson Smith and Njigba over there on him. And I'm pretty sure Reed Blankenship, who was in the hole, was looking at DK Metcalf. But the matchup, they had identified that matchup along the way and decided that they were going to take advantage of that. My problem isn't necessarily the cover one and the 29-yard, touchdown. My problem is you played zone all the way down the field. You let a career backup quarterback go 10 plays, 92 yards in the last 1 minute and 54 seconds of the game. You let him drive and you let him be comfortable, okay?
Be comfortable is huge, yeah.
Well, it's everything.
Yeah.
Because he has no
real pass rush, no blitz, yeah.
Listen, Drew Lock doesn't have any history of comeback wins, okay?
Now he has one.
But what you did, I agree. But what you did, and this is why pressure and blitzing is so important in my opinion, okay? You cannot allow an able quarterback who can make all the throws to feel comfortable in the pocket. Now, he had 144 yards on 12 of 19 passing in the second half and 1 touchdown. It wasn't like one of those games where he lit it up, but they ran the ball effective enough to keep him safe and to allow his confidence to rise when they needed him to throw the football. And he felt protected in the pocket. If you don't take care of that early and put some doubt in his mind that you're not going to be protected when you want to throw the ball, okay, then why would he not feel comfortable to stand in the pocket and deliver?
There was no doubt.
And this is the thing, and I'm not sure whether it's an organizational, philosophical thing, whether it's a defense philosophy thing that these coordinators are now running, but this thing where they believe that you can't give up the big play and you got to play soft and you're prolonging your own demise. You're literally prolonging your own demise because it doesn't. You don't have to. I'm not saying blitz like you lost your mind, okay? But this kid completed 3 3rd and 10 pluses on this drive, on the winning drive, and you didn't think on one of those 3rd down and 10s to bring some pressure and put the heat on him.
They didn't blitz once, didn't they, on that last series? Yeah.
Not at all. Okay, so we can sit back and talk about whoever the defensive coordinator is, but whatever the mindset and the philosophy of how they play defense, until they begin to change that, they're going to continue to have problems. And I know that Nick Sirianni believes in explosive plays down the field offensively and minimizing them on the defensive side of the ball. But in every game, in everything that you venture to be successful at, and in every game, there always comes a point in time where you have to risk something, okay? This not risking it only allows a team to go down, and the more confidence that they get, the more assured they feel and the more confidence they feel that they can make a play to actually win the game, and that's exactly why the Eagles lost.
Seth Joyner is our guest. Seth, one of the things that people believe, and with good reason looking back through the past, that the Eagles have one of the most highly regarded offensive lines in the National Football League. Yet yesterday, it seemed to me as I was broadcasting the game that Locke had a lot more time back there than Jalen Hurts.
Well, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There were some times where Jalen left the pocket too early. Jalen's got to learn how to manipulate the pocket and not always look to run, because and he's also, listen, you and I have had many conversations about this in a lot of different forms. I'm one of the biggest Jalen Hurts fans that's out there, and I know Merrill is too, because he was going to war with him and for him before everybody else was even on board. But I'll say this: there also comes a point in time, where you got to hold the quarterback accountable. He has got to take what the defense is giving him and stop always trying to, hit the home run. Okay? There's times where, there was third downs to be converted. He had Devontae Smith on a crossing route.
I saw that.
And he throws the ball outside, to a double covered or a well covered A.J. Brown on the interception to end the game.
Would that have been a touchdown, Devontae? He had a lot of space.
Well, I mean, listen, it surely would have set up, a scoring opportunity instead of being in a situation where you wind up having to punt because you throw the ball 30 yards down the field when you've got the first down right there in front of you. And it's the same thing on the interception at the end of the game. He had Kenneth Gainwell sitting right there. There was nobody within 20 yards of him. And my thing is,
did he not see him?
Well, this is my thing with Jalen. I get the sense now that he's locking on and predetermining where he wants to go with the ball, and he is willing to hold it and wait until that guy either gets open or he has a scramble. Now, within every offensive play baked in is an outlet. There's a safety valve. And the great quarterbacks learn over time that when I can't get what I want, let me give it to the safety valve.
I got it. I have a question for you here. I mean, this is...
Go ahead, because then we take a break. Go ahead.
Okay. Did you see by any chance, the Manning cast, the Mannings did their thing?
I did.
Did you see that little clip with Christian McCaffrey where he predicted what the Eagles' play would be with Jalen Hurts? He said, "Here it comes." He and the Mannings were sitting there. There's a clip on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, and he says he
said they're going to motion the tight end around,
right,
and Jalen Hurts is going to take it and go to his left. Well, he went to his right, but he knew the play was coming before it came.
And there's a running back from another team that's fairly predictable, right?
Well, listen, there was a report that came out last week that one of the players said that the offense is pretty vanilla. It's highly predictable.
Oh, the Eagles, yeah.
And when you start having defensive players now, okay, that speaks to their ability, to study game plans and so on and so forth, like I talked about earlier, before we got on air, and understand how teams are trying to attack them. Okay, when you're able as a player to do that, that comes from great coaching as well. It's the same exact thing in the loss against the Jets. The guy that intercepted that ball on 3rd and 9, he said, "My coach told me that this is what Jalen was going to do. I just trusted what he said, fell right into it. He threw it right to me." Now, the Eagles got a lot of work to do from an offensive perspective, because when teams have scouted you so well that they know what you're going to do situationally before you even get in that situation, then you're not strategizing and you're not coordinating your offense in a well enough manner.
That's what's happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, teams know what's coming.
Yeah.
Even in the run game, it's so predictable. If the running back is offset to the left of Jalen, he can't run the ball to the left. He has to run the ball to the right. So when you see guys jumping gaps to the offense's right, they know that the ball, if they're going to run the football, they have to run it that way. So if that's the scenario, how can you be successful when by formationally you are basically cutting the field in half, and if you're going to run the ball, you can only run it in one direction?
All right, Seth Joyner is our guest. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The holidays are here. Don't wait. Plan your holiday parties right now at Chickies and Pete's. And also, get some shopping done early with the gift that always fits and always gets returned, Chicky and Pete's gift cards. We offer a wide variety of holiday party options and an extensive catering to-go menu for the holidays. Plus, get a $10 bonus card with every $50 gift card you purchase, in-store or online at chickyandpete's.com. Happy holidays from Chickies and Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. Hi, it's Merrill. Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City. Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit penncommunitybank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And we are back with Pro Football Report. And Bob, this is time for this week's injury review.
Brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689. And I understand you'll get a very knowledgeable person at the end of the phone line there. And by the way, we have some Begley, Carlin, and Mandio people here tonight. Elaine is here.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, Elaine. All right. Okay. Injury report. Nolan Smith injured his shoulder, and that was in the second half. He made a pretty good play. He did not return to action. So, and there's one of those young guys Seth was talking about that they put out on the field there.
I'm worried about his shoulder. I really am.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm worried about the long term because he made a statement. He was like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm not sure whether he actually needs shoulder surgery after the season, what's going on. But I think that shoulders have more to do with his inability to be effective this year than not.
Yeah, that's interesting because he had issues at Georgia, and then they really missed Darius Slay. I know he hasn't had his best year, but they missed him in the secondary last night. Lane Johnson injured his ankle, missed a play, got back in there, and maybe Zach Cunningham, he was scratched with the knee. Maybe he'll be back. And Cam Jurgens' pectoral muscle. So, but anyway, that's your injury review, and the week's injury review is brought to you by the attorneys at Begley, Carlin, and Mandio. Contact them today for a free consultation at 215-806-3689.
Seth Joyner, let me ask you a question. This is about as much of a fantasy as you could ever make up. Tomorrow morning you wake up and there's a phone call from Nick Sirianni. And Nick says, I've been listening to you on WIP and WBCB. Can you come in and spend an hour with me and tell me what you think we have to do to turn this whole thing around and be a viable team in the playoffs? What would you do? I mean, I'm not saying what would you do because I know you probably wouldn't go. But you would go.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you go, and what are you going to tell Nick?
Hey, listen, the Philadelphia Eagles are my team. I know that I'm highly critical of them, but that's my job. I try to tell people all the time, Merrill, my job as an analyst is to analyze the game the way that I see it. I will forever be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I want nothing but for this team to have success and be successful for this city, because this city of brotherly love deserves that. Okay, but if you're going to ask me a genuine question, then I'm going to give you a genuine answer.
Which you always do.
Well, and because I just think that when you operate from a position of truth, then you never have to defend yourself. If it's not truthful, then you got to either apologize or you got to defend it. So if I say something and I get it wrong, I'm also man enough to go back and say, hey, you know what, I got it wrong. Okay.
And I've heard you you do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The outspokenness.
Okay, so what do you tell Nick? What can they do to reverse this downward spiral?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd rather come in the offseason and be a part of that.
Sure.
Be a part of that fix. I just think that it's too late in the season at this point in time for them to actually fix what's flawed with this football team. The fundamentals and techniques in football are so important, and we've become so engrossed in the analytics and so engrossed in schematics that we lose sight of that. When you look at really good football teams, they are technicians. They have coaches who play that are technicians, that teach their players the fundamentals and the techniques of the game that allows them to play the game much more effectively. The second thing is, offensively, I know you want explosive plays, Nick, but at the end of the day, explosive plays to me are like, playing defense for Buddy Ryan, okay? You want to rush the passer and you want to blitz, you have to earn the right to be able to do that. How do you do that? You stop the run, you make them one-dimensional, you force them into a situation where now we can predictably bring pressure and we can blitz and we can get after the passer. Well, it's the same exact way on the offensive side of the ball. In order for you to get the shots down the field, you're not going to get them just because you want them. You're going to get them because you run the ball effectively, you make them put the extra safety in the box, you take the underneath passes, you stress the defense, and you get to a place where you have a lead. And the Eagles were in position the last 2 weeks to do that if you give them 2 touchdowns. Now you're in position to force the hand of the opposing team, to do things that they don't want to do. Now when you get them in that situation, when you see blitz, when you see a defense where you got one-on-one and you got a mismatch with either Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown or Dallas Goedert in a one-on-one situation, now you take your shots. Stop throwing the ball into double coverage and trying to force shots down the field. Take what the defense gives you, move the chains, put yourself in a position every single time that you have the ball with an opportunity to score. That's what Tom Brady did. That's what Joe Montana did. That's what the greats in the NFL have always done. They don't throw the ball 40 yards down the field on the bomb on 3rd and 2 when you only need 2 yards. Why don't you have an uncovered option route underneath to convert the first down? Now you're in a position you got 3 more cracks at them. But I'm sick and tired of watching not only the Eagles but offenses across the board. It's 3rd down. They see blitz. They, in their mind, we've got an opportunity for a home run. That's a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
If you don't complete it, guess what? You're punting now. And now you've putting yourself in a situation where you don't have access to the next 3 shots at the opposing defense, and you're giving the ball back to the other team. I just don't get it. That's what I would give them on the offensive side of the ball. Continue to run the football and take in the passing game what the defense gives you. Defensively, you just got to be more aggressive. You got to. And I realize, that you have your doubts about your cornerbacks and whether they can stand up.
Sure do. I mean,
but listen, the one coverage that kids learn how to play when they first start playing football is, guess what? Man coverage.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the coverage they're most familiar with. Okay. But if you put it in their head, no big plays, no big plays, no big plays, no big plays. Now you instill in them this sense of fear of getting beat deep. So when they're in man coverage, there's this fear that they're going to get beat deep. And the thing that you fear and the thing that you think about the most in the most negative of ways is the thing that you attract to you. Give them the confidence to get up at the line of scrimmage and jam guys and run with them. They've been doing it their entire lives. You have to do that sometimes instead of playing 10 yards off when it's 3rd and 3 and thinking that they're not going to take the slant for the first down. You're giving that to them. So I don't know, man. Merrill, I get your point. Those are the things that I would say, and I would impress upon my team, especially defensively, the importance of being able to control the run.
Seth, you used the word fundamentals. And I watched the game, I called the game last night, and the thing that I found so frustrating is they would meet Kenneth Walker, the running back, at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack, and I'm about to say, and they stopped them cold, and all of a sudden they blink, and he's 12 yards downfield. Is their tackling unfundamentally sound?
It is, and it's not just them. It's across the entirety of pro football.
Because they can't hit in preseason.
Well, because they don't hit. It's not that they can't hit. They make the decision not to hit, and they don't practice tackling drills. Listen, how many running backs have you ever seen that looks like that big orange donut that they roll on the ground and tackle?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. How many running backs in the NFL do you know that are about 4.5 feet tall, square shape, sitting on a pad, and you get to run and strike him without him having to move?
Other than Boston Scott, not many.
Okay. So now, if you don't practice how to tackle and you don't practice the fundamentals of tackling, and you don't even have to go full speed to get it done. But I've got to get to a place where I'm used to putting my body on your body and wrapping you up again. And you can do that without taking a guy to the ground.
Can you do that now with 17 games?
Sure you can.
Yeah.
Sure you can. You have to build it into your practice and how you practice every single day. Because, listen, I used to tell my young kids when I was coaching youth, when my son was young, ever since he was 9 years old, he played football, and I decided, okay, if he's going to play, I'm going to coach. And I used to tell my kids all the time, if you can get close enough to the ball carrier to put your hands on him, you can get close enough to him to put your body on him, okay? Take the extra step. It's not about you blowing him up, because if he sees you, you're not going to get the kill shot. The objective is to get him on the ground. So get close enough to him where you can get your body on him and stop his momentum and wrap him up and hold on for your brothers to come and get a piece of it. Now, when he ain't looking, now you can clean him up. But as long as he can see you, he's not going to allow you. He's just going to sidestep you. He's going to do what he does. And Sidney Brown love him to death. But Sidney Brown is not tackling Kenneth Walker up around his shoulder pad.
No, that's what he was doing.
Get around his legs,
yes,
because he cannot run without legs.
Yes.
So take the legs away.
Absolutely.
I got a
question. Bobby, fast, because we've got to go.
Just this whole thing with Jalen saying he doesn't think that they're committed, right? What was your reaction to that, Seth? Because you've had your moments too.
I think that Jalen is so much more mature than I ever was, when I played, because Jalen is the type of guy, he's the first in and the last out. If there's one thing that we know about this kid, that he's 100% committed to being the best quarterback and the best leader and the best teammate that he can be. Is he struggling? He's absolutely struggling. I think it's part him. I think it's part, the staff that's not bringing him along the way that they need to bring him along. But I think he's frustrated because guys at times aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And he was very close, in my opinion, of just kind of pointing the finger at who it was. But he's too good of a leader, too great of a teammate, too great of a team guy to actually point the finger. So he's trying to point the finger at the whole to get to the few that's not doing what's necessary for the team to actually win. And I give him credit. It's not him pointing the finger, but you also know that there are some things that's not going on internally that's causing the team not to be successful. And I'm not absolving him from it. Listen, he's got to play better. He's got to be, more decisive in what he does. He's got to lead, not only from a leadership, what comes out of his mouth, but how he plays on the field and his effectiveness, and it's got to start this Sunday.
Seth, I know you have to run. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. You are the absolute best. We thank you and look forward to speaking with you soon.
You got it, my friend. Anything for you. Take
All
care.
right, we'll be back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Planning to go to the game? Give LimoToday.com a call. You'll get to the game and back safely and in style. Why worry about the traffic and parking when you can relax and let LimoToday.com do the driving for you and your friends? And if you book a 5-hour trip with LimoToday.com, you'll get the 6-hour free. From sedans to minibuses to vans and stretch limos, let LimoToday.com get you to the game. Give them a call at 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. That's 1-866-LIMO-TODAY. Hi, it's Merrill. Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa is here to help you distress after the game. Visit them to restore, relax, or refresh with a much-needed massage or facial for an introductory price starting at just $79.95. They offer an abundance of facial and massage services. Visit any one of their 60 spas in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley, or go to handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City. Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
At Penn Community Bank, we're not just your bankers, we're your neighbors. That comes in handy when you're purchasing your first place, refinancing an existing mortgage, buying a second home or investment property, or looking to tap into your home's equity. Whatever your situation, we pair the latest products, services, and technology that you need with the experienced banking professionals you want. Visit PennCommunityBank.com or stop by your local branch to find out how we can make your family's growth personal. Penn Community Bank. Here we are and here we grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Bringing in your front line is as easy as 1, 2, key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get in for their first, second, or third shifts and even travel the system on their off hours, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at SEPTA.org/partner programs. That's SEPTA.org/partner programs.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, prove it.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for the Pro Football Report presented by BCWSA. Once again, here's your host, Delaware County Times Birds reporter Bob Grotz, and voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, Merrill Reese.
And back we are here at Chickies and Pete's in the Great Northeast. It is time now for this week's Penworth Financial Keys to the Game. The key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. All right, Bobby, number one. Key against the Giants on Christmas Day.
Just take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. Win the turnover battle, and you'll win this game. The Giants love to, and get out of the Giants' way. They will beat themselves. So, and Eagles just need a win. 3 losses in a row. So get out of the way. win the turnover battle, end of the losing streak.
Okay, number two. Number two to me is treat the Giants like they're the 49ers. Don't come into this game thinking, all right, they're the Giants, they hardly win, we can just walk through this thing.
I think that'll work. Yeah.
Go in realizing what's at stake. And there is a lot at stake right now. Go in
Absolutely.
play it like it's a playoff game. Do everything you have to do. Concentrate and be meticulous on every detail. No jumping off sides, no false starts, no encroachment. Play the game the way it's meant to be played.
Well, if they do that, they'll crush them like they did in the playoffs, last year.
Okay.
So that's a good one, too. Okay, and the third one?
Third one's got to be put pressure on Tommy DeVito, assuming he is still the quarterback. I mean, the young guy has done a pretty good job. Struggled yesterday.
Here's his thing. He does that thing.
He
the
does
Italian
some things.
thing, yeah.
They talk about the Tommy cutlets and all that.
Yeah.
It's a fun story.
Yeah.
But give him some credit because he has done some things well.
Oh, he has.
And as he said to Lisa Salter on a post-game interview, he said, you know what? He said, people talk about the big stage. I've been playing football since I was 5 years old. So to me, I love playing here at Giant Stadium. I love being in the NFL. Part of all of it, it's fun. So don't let him have a fun night.
Absolutely. And what Seth was talking about, don't let him get comfortable.
Okay. That is the Penworth Financial keys to the game. Key to your financial future is Penworth Financial. Call them today at 267-997-4503 or visit penworth.com. All right, Bobby. Last week, believe it or not, I was 7-1 in the prediction category.
I was 8-0. Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, I missed the Eagles game.
No, you were 5-3. All right, that wasn't bad for you.
All right,
let's take a look at this week's games. These games that we've selected. New Orleans. We don't do Eagles.
Okay.
New Orleans at the Rams.
The Rams.
You picked the Rams?
Yep.
I picked the Rams. All right, this is an interesting one. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati is trending upward. I'll take Cincinnati.
I will too.
Yeah.
I mean, Pittsburgh right now, who's going to be their quarterback?
Dumpster fire.
It could be Mason Rudolph.
It is going to be Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. All right. Detroit at Miami.
I'll take Miami.
I'm sorry. Dallas at Miami.
I'll take Miami.
You're taking
Yeah.
You're taking Miami?
I don't think Dallas can win on the road. Not against a good team.
You know what? Dallas has their backs to the wall. I think they'll lose another game. Well, I'm going to take Dallas. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong. All right. This is a game that's pretty interesting. Arizona at the Bears.
I will take the Bears.
You will take Chicago.
Yeah, because that weather, I mean, you never know what Chicago's going to be like, except it'll be cold.
But you know,
rain or snow.
Arizona has played a lot of teams closely this season, and now they have Kyler Murray back. He's dangerous. Eagles are going to face them in 2 weeks, and that is not a given because JG, Jonathan Gannon, knows the Eagles so well, and he really wants to come back.
I agree with that, but I think they're still tanking in this one.
You're going to take the
Merrill.
Bears?
Yep.
I'm going to take Arizona. All right. This is a good one. Indianapolis at Atlanta. Very important.
Oh, Indianapolis.
Okay.
Shane Steichen has done a
Atlanta,
Coach of the Year job, right, Merrill?
He's right there with D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryan is another guy who should be Coach of the Year. All right. I will pick Indianapolis also. Oh, here is the battle of the bad. Washington at the Jets. Fast.
Jets.
Jets. Jets. I'm going to pick the Jets, too.
And they're going to have a new quarterback.
Seattle of Tennessee.
Seattle.
And finally, the game that precedes the Eagles on Christmas Day, Las Vegas at Kansas City.
Oh, the Chiefs.
They're
back.
Okay, they're back. All right, I'll go with Kansas City also. That wraps us up for tonight. We thank our producer, Chris Ermer. We thank our executive producer, George Forster, PGA. And for all of us, we thank Lee Alexander, who was the makeup artist on set.
And Matt Muro.
Who does absolutely nothing. So for all of us, we thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Monday when the Eagles meet the Giants at the Link. For all of us, have a very Merry Christmas and good night, everyone.
You've been listening to the Pro Football Report, presented by BCWSA. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 AM, as well as 107.3 FM, and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.